All right, guys, we kind of have a doubleheader today. A lot of information to go over about Bioware, Dragon Age the Veilguard, and of course, Ghost of Yotei, and how they're all connected. So, starting off, you see this article here from Niche Gamer saying Bioware reportedly loses most of its staff with less than 100 people left. Now, this was initially broke by Grums, aka, Mark Kern over on Twitter, despite the fact that Jason Schreier tried to weasel his way in and steal this scoop, acting like he's the only person you can trust. And that's something we've seen out of the Access media time and time again. Them thinking that they're the only people that have sources, they're the only ones who are on the inside who can talk, reliably about any of these topics, because they think that they're the only people that you should trust with your time and, of course, to get your information from. So this article says, now that Dragon Age the Veilguard has been released, a core team at Bioware is developing the next Mass Effect game under the leadership of veterans from the original trilogy, including Mike Gamble, Preston Watamanuk, Derek Watts, Parrish Lay, and others, Bioware General Manager Gary McKay said in the email. This means, though, that they now have fewer than 100 staff members, and I believe Grum said it was somewhere around 80 people or so. Now, this is pretty shocking, given the fact that, of course, we're not surprised Dragon Age the Veilguard failed, but we're surprised, I guess, some of us are, how miserably it failed. I believe it only hit 1.5 million players, which included EA Play Pro subscriptions. So, of course, this is a disaster for Bioware. And now we are hearing that some of the writers who wrote the Dragon Age the Veilguard and Mass Effect Andromeda have now moved on to work on Ghost of Yotei. And this is coming from that Park Place. Says Sucker Punch's upcoming Ghost of Yotei is already facing serious backlash, and now new details have emerged that only add fuel to the fire. According to IMDb, the game's writers include John Dumbro and Courtney Woods, both of whom worked on Dragon Age the Veilguard, a game widely criticized for prioritizing identity politics over compelling storytelling. With this revelation, concerns that Ghost of Yotei is shaping up to be another woke disaster have only intensified, and the controversy surrounding Ghost of Yotei began with its very first trailer, where fans quickly realized that instead of continuing the story of Jin Sakai, the beloved protagonist of Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch has replaced him with a new female lead named Atsu. This abrupt shift in focus immediately raised red flags for gamers wary of yet another classic franchise being retooled for modern ideological messaging. And, people are just getting sick and tired of the bait and switch, right? We've seen this time and time again, where they promise you one thing and they swap it for something else. And let's not forget that Erika Ishii, the voice actress for Atsu, who has been a voice actress in the industry for a long time, very vocally active. She hates TERFs, anybody who is, resists the trans ideology whatsoever. She thinks children should be able to transition. She hates police. She hates white people. And this is not something that I'm making up, guys. There are plenty of tweets that say this from her own mouth. Now, I've always said I can separate the art from the artist, but at some point, these people who are activists first and then, then whatever their career is, whether it's developer, voice actor, so on and so on, they tend to always have to force their ideology into everything that they do. And that's the problem. I can separate the art from their artist, but they themselves can't. So you see these tweets from her saying, "We will not let these terrorists shake our resolve. 2020 showed us that we will rise up and make our voices heard. Despite voter suppression, facing down a white supremacist police force, risking health and safety, we hit the polls and streets to say no more. They can't stop us. Historically, the answer to an attempted coup is to never acknowledge its legitimacy. We will not ignore this. We will treat these terrorist thugs." And of course, she's talking about J6, right? And of course, Trump being the white supremacist. This is the funniest shit, because it's like this man has such a diverse group of people around him, but that's a whole different side tangent. Making matters worse in the eyes of many fans, the game's protagonist is played by Erika Ishii, and again, we've gone over a lot of the crap that she has said in the past. This whole Sweet Baby controversy is mind-numbingly dumb. Most people have no idea how games are made or what a consultant does. Don't care to listen when someone tries to explain it to them. They would much rather have someone else to demonize. And that was, of course, from Thomas Hart, the community manager of Sucker Punch back in April 2024, defending Sweet Baby Inc. Now you see people like this, Courtney Wood saying, "I'm so excited to announce today's my first day as senior staff writer at Sucker Punch. Can't wait to work with and learn from incredibly talented coworkers. This is a dream come true for me," right? And this is again as somebody who was part of the Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem series, just absolute disasters of games, who are now moving on to this game that people are already worried about becoming a giant woke mess of a game. Something that nobody wanted. We wanted a sequel for Jin Sakai, and instead we got this. Well, now it gets better today. Now we have a new rumor concerning the game director behind Dragon Age the Veilguard, the reason why the game was so obsessed with, again, gender ideology and so incessantly woke. Diversity in Dragons, who has a YouTube channel, said video games and D&D collide in some breaking news, link below. And his video here, which I'll link in the description down below, says that it's a rumor that is now confirmed as true. Corinne Busche is ready to destroy Wizards of the Coast. And what he's talking about is that Corinne Busche, who was the game director of Dragon Age the Veilguard, has now moved on to a job at Wizards of the Coast, working at Skeleton Key Studios after leaving Bioware. Again, an article from That Park Place says, in a move that has sparked immediate controversy and proved that it's more than possible to fail upwards in the gaming world, Wizards of the Coast has reportedly hired Dragon Age the Veilguard director Corinne Busche to work as its newly formed Skeleton Key Studios. This development, first reported by Diversity and Dragons and later confirmed by Smash JT, suggests that Veilguard director has quietly landed in a new role despite producing the most notorious bomb in Bioware's long-running RPG history. And again, Corinne Busche is one of these people who brought on Laura Kate Dale, who's a, quote, accessibility consultant, just a trans activist who helped ruin Life is Strange Double Exposure, who also helped destroy Dragon Age the Veilguard. Corinne Busche, again, a dude LARPing as a woman, who has been obsessed with gender politics. The reason they had trans surgery scars in Dragon Age the Veilguard is because Corinne Busche worked on The Sims, which also included that crap in their game as well. Okay, this is the thing. Everywhere they go, they have to inject their own ideology into the products that they work on. It says Bush's departure from Bioware came shortly after the disastrous launch of The Veilguard, a game that embraced divisive gender politics and fell drastically short of expectations. Originally projected to sell over 10 million copies, the game failed to break even 1.5 million, marking one of Bioware's worst performing titles. And again, it's very important to note, this 1.5 million mark is not even including sales. It's not just sales, that's including people who played on EA Play Pro. So people who didn't even purchase the game are included in that 1.5 million total players. Absolutely insane, right? And of course, Smash JT says Corinne Busche is going to fit right in. Yes, this is a real image posted from Wizards of the Coast studio that he has joined called Skeleton Key Studios. And of course, you see the Zoom call where everybody's got pride flags and trans pride flags in their backgrounds. Nure says, after seeing their hiring practices, I can already tell exactly how Skeleton Key Studio is going to fare. Hiring the one person who single-handedly torpedoed one of the most beloved RPG franchises, brilliant strategy. I'm sure this will end great for them. And it says here, looking for your next adventure, we believe in empowering our teams and that by providing the proper time, tools, and support, we can foster a creative culture where everyone can do their best work. Skeleton Key is an equal opportunity employer. That's false. We celebrate diversity and are committed to creating an inclusive environment for all employees. Oh yeah, diverse and inclusive. That's kind of the kiss of death right there. But again, this shouldn't be a surprise for anybody who's been paying attention. Wizards of the Coast has been doing this in all their IPs, like again, Dungeons and Dragons, trying to remove half races because they're racist, having these Mexican looking orcs in D&D, trying to make people who are minorities identify with orcs, which is just absolutely insane and racist, at face value. And of course, you see this post from Dying Breed TT on Twitter saying, liches no longer have phylacteries because it might be offensive to Jews in the new Dungeons and Dragons 2024 Monster Manual. They now have spirit jars. Also, sphinxes are no longer distinguished by gender and orcs aren't in the book. Have a nice day. So again, it is not a shock to me that they went and brought Corinne Busche in because of the fact that this is already a company that has gone exceedingly woke. And to be honest, they couldn't have, done this. Everything that's happening to them right now, they have done to themselves, I think, is the long and the short of it. We've seen so many studios, like I just talked about Ubisoft last night, creating all this controversy for themselves, and at the end of the day, they have nobody else to blame. But I'm gonna leave it right there, guys. Let me know what you think about this down below, and I will catch you guys on the next one.